Albert Pujols interviewed with the Angels, and then very quickly it was like Albert Pujols and the Angels, it's not moving forward. And no one really knew, like, was that the Angels? Was that Pujols? We don't know. Then 2 days later, it's Kurt Suzuki, signed by the Angels to be their manager on a 1-year contract. I know not everyone has 700 career home runs in Major League Baseball, but, and I'm sure you've talked to people about this, Darren. When you are someone who's coming up through the ranks and you have an opportunity to manage a team, you have to put some thought process into the first team you manage. Because if you become a manager of a team and that team is terrible, then every time you interview for a job after that, it's going to be, well, couldn't make anything of this team, right? And I do think that Albert Pujols probably talked to the Angels, and they probably tried to pull this same thing on him of like, we want a 1-year deal, a trial, really earn it thing. And he was like, no, I'm not gonna manage the Angels for one terrible year and have my reputation ruined. But on the same side, he's interviewing with the Padres, and as far as we know, the manager's boss is the general manager, president of baseball operations, right? So AJ Preller, whether or not he gets free reign to hire whoever he wants, essentially would be the boss of this manager. And are you telling Albert Pujols, like, yeah, AJ's going to be your boss for the first year, and after that, we'll figure it out? Like, isn't that kind of like the same offer he just walked away from with the Angels, which is just like so much uncertainty about the future. Things could absolutely come crashing, crumbling down a year from now and completely reshape the job, the team, the organization around you. I don't know. I do think you have to have an answer, because I'm sure these managers are asking the team, like, what's the plan for baseball ops like 3 years from now? Is there a plan? I'm sure there's an answer.
You want to be set up for success, right?
Right.
I mean, you definitely want to think about that, especially if you're somebody like Albert Pujols and you're thinking about what your first opportunity is going to look like. You want that to go well.
Yeah.
You do really want that to go well, and you want to feel good that you are in alignment. You don't want to just take a job because you're trying to get out of the house. At least I hope that's not the case or the motivation for Albert Pujols. You think you want to do this because you want to win and you want to be successful. And not only do you want to be remembered as a great player, but maybe you also want to be remembered as a really good manager and somebody who did something that not a lot of players can do, really great players, which is convert and be a really good manager in your post-playing career. So I would think that is probably pretty important to Albert, not knowing him at all and not really knowing what his motivation is. But I would think that that's probably a pretty important thing for him. Like I said, I don't think he's just trying to get out of the house or, get back on airplanes and travel around the country and spend 8 months of the year away from his family. But I would think that would be one of the top questions that I would ask, because I could certainly be I certainly can say, wow, listen, like, this is Fernando Tatis Jr., this is Manny Machado. There's some pretty good pitching around here, right? This is a pretty appealing job. The lifestyle. I've always asked people, what is it about San Diego? Isn't anybody ever scared off because of the, some of the palace intrigue, some of the drama? It's like, no, man, people are really, the quality of life, the travel, like, people really view that as the plum job, one of the plum jobs in all of Major League Baseball. So, it's the stuff that we get wrapped in, the minutia of the day to day. I don't think that has that's not a huge factor for people that are considering it. But you are right. Like, if I was a first time manager, I would want to know, and I'm Albert Pujols and I have a standard of how things have been done in my career. I would absolutely want some more information on that, because I will get other opportunities just simply because I'm Albert Pujols. Now, other managers might not have that luxury. If we're talking about somebody, I don't know, pick a name. If we're talking about somebody who's just desperate to get into managing, they'd be like, oh, I can't turn this down. I don't care what the structure is. Whatever. If Preller's here, if he's not here, what do I care? Yeah, I'll answer to Eric Grupner. What can go wrong? What do I care? But, I don't know that would be for somebody, with the profile of Albert Pujols. But